Regina. Thank you so much for joining. Tag a friend, share the video to a group, to a friend. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Hey Martin, thank you so much for joining. Tag a friend. Thank you Regina. Thank you so much for everyone that's joining. Tag a friend. Okay, Emma, good to see you. It's called Permission by Ringtone and Shiro IGP. I think it's brand new. It is about a week old, if I'm not wrong. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Oof, so good, so good. So thank you so much for everyone that's joining. Tag a friend, share the video. Let's get started by just sharing. Thank you, Leah Isaac. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Irene. I appreciate you guys joining. Tag a friend, invite someone to watch with you. So we are still upgrading our marriages. We are still upgrading our relationships so that we can live a happy life, right? Because there's no need of saying, oh, I'm married, but I'm miserable. I'm dating, but I'm miserable. What's the point? So let's upgrade this thing. Let's upgrade our lives. Let's upgrade this situation, so that we can both enjoy it, so that our kids can enjoy it, so that the world can be a better place. And so today I just want to start with saying thank you for everyone that stood with me during that hard time. I lost a very dear friend and it was very hard, but I thank God for all your comfort, all your prayers, all those encouraging words. I appreciate it so much. And keep them coming. Your prayers, I so need them. So today we're going to talk about jealousy and competition in marriages. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you so much for joining. Keep tagging someone that you know may need this word. And there might not be jealousy and competition in your situation, but then you need to know what that is. So when it starts coming up, you can stop it. You can notice it. What you know, you can easily, evade it or rather run away from it. But if you don't know something can hurt you, then you will go that way thinking that you are safe, but you're not safe. So today we're going to talk about jealousy and competition in marriages and in relationships. And so what is jealousy? Jealousy, it has a lot of definitions. But what I want us to focus on is feeling or showing suspicion of someone's unfaithfulness in a relationship. Okay? Feeling or showing suspicion of someone's unfaithfulness in a relationship. That's what jealousy is defined in our content today. It could be anything else. It could be envy. There's a lot of definitions to jealousy. But when we come to marriages, what is it? What does it mean? It means that showing or feeling suspicious about someone's unfaithfulness in a relationship. Now, what is competition? Competition, I'm going to give you 3 more words or 4 can define competition. It is strife. It is battering. It is war. It is rivalry. If you think about competition in a match, in a field, in a football field, you think about two teams fighting each other. That's what competition is. Now, when we're talking about competition in a marriage, we're talking about a wife and a husband, instead of being together in unity, they are separate and they are fighting. It's competition, it's rivalry, it's war. Now, you do know, according to Matthew, what was it? Was it Matthew 12, 22 to 28? It says, a house divided cannot stand. A house that is divided cannot stand. Now, anytime instead of being in unity, you come against each other and you start as two separate teams. Instead of being one team, you separate and you become two teams. That is a sure sign you're about to fall apart. All right? And so that is what we're going to look at today, because many people don't even know they are living in division. They are competing with their spouses. Now, I want to clarify something here. There's something like valid jealousy. There is something like that can be called, I don't know if anybody has discovered it, but I believe there is legitimate jealousy. And like we can look at it in a way like, if you know there is another name for God, and God says, I am a jealous God. And when God says, I am a jealous God, he means I'm not gonna share what is mine with anybody else. And so that is in the context of God, it's usually talking about sharing his praise, sharing his glory, sharing what is supposed to go to God, his attention, and sharing that with something or someone else. When you go to worship idols, you're sharing what you're supposed to give to God, you're giving it to something or someone else. So that's how God says, I am a jealous God. And when I'm jealous, when God is jealous about his relationship with you, that means you have abandoned him. You have abandoned who he means to you. You have put something in between your relationship with God. And when God says, I'm a jealous God, what he does, if you do that, is he comes in between and snatches whatever it is that is in between you and removes it. It could be children, it could be husband, it could be wife, it could be a business, it could be anything. It might look valuable, it might be even God-given. God is the one that gave that thing to you. But then it took the place of God. Nothing. Even the first commandment said, do not have any other God other than me. So anything you put in between you and God takes the place of God. And God has the legal right to remove it. Now, when it comes to marriage, when you say I do and you unite with that person through the ring that you put in the finger, or however you married that person, you have surrendered yourself and said, I don't have anything that is mine anymore. Whatever I have is yours, and whatever you have is mine. And so now we are not two individuals, we are one. And so what I am is what you are. So if I have $1 million, you have $1 million. If we have $1, we both have $1. There is no, oh, I'm rich and you're poor. There is nothing like that in a marriage. And so now, when we marry, and there are things that rightfully belong to your spouse. Your body, you become one thing. And so you can't take your body and go use it out there with anybody else except your spouse. And when you do that, your spouse is bound to be jealous. And that is legitimate jealousy, because you are taking what is theirs and throwing it away or using it elsewhere. So that is legitimate jealousy. It does not help, but it's supposed to feel like that. When someone takes what's yours and uses out there. It could be money. And instead of using the money in the family setting, you take the money and you use it in any other way. So that is legitimate jealousy. If we come up to things like kids, they take attention. They take, like when you sometimes I've seen situations when there's a newborn. And when there's a newborn in the house, they take so much of your attention, especially the mom. And usually the father start feeling like, wait a second, now you don't see me in this house. You know, this baby has taken my place. And they start feeling some sort of way like you're not even focusing on me. But it's because the new person that has come in here and their age, they don't understand what you're talking about. I'm the center of attention here, you know? And so it takes a grown person to understand that it's necessary for us to focus on this baby and get them to where they are safe and then we can focus on each other. So now, that's legitimate, that's valid jealousy. It will not take you anywhere. The best way you can deal with this is talk, communicate, and say, listen, your friends have taken you away from me. Your job has taken you away from me. You're focusing too much on this business, on this job, on your friendship, on your golf, on whatever it is that you're focusing on, and you have taken your attention from me, and I need you to focus on me a little bit. I mean, I don't want all your 24 hours a day with me, but I need to feel like you know I am here, I exist with you, okay? So that's what it means, and it takes that other person noticing that, okay, yeah, what I'm doing is not right. And so changing their ways, adjusting to the need, and meeting their spouse to the point of need, okay, at the point of need. So that's what we mean by valid jealousy. It's valid for someone to feel a certain way if you neglect them, if you ignore them. It's valid. Even a kid, even God himself feels like that when we ignore him, when we put friendships, when we put anything we put in between before God. God feels jealous. That's what he means by I am a jealous God. So that aside, because that's not what I'm talking about today. What I want to focus on today is when the jealousy is because you as a spouse who was supposed to work as one team has gone separate ways, and now we are competing, and now we are like Arsenal and Manchester. I don't know what else to compare it with, right? So as whatever team you like, right? Two teams fighting. That house, you have increased the chances of a failure in that marriage, of divorce in that marriage, anytime you do that, anytime you entertain that, because there is a lot of power in unity. There is a lot of strength in working together. And when you separate and start working as two teams, there is no need of being married and then work separately. It doesn't make sense. The reason why you are married in the first place is to be together, is to work together as a team. You become a team. Now, I want to point out some of these things because we don't realize they are happening, right? So when you have, what causes competitiveness? What causes this in the family though? Because we need to know where does it come from. Some of it is because of insecurities. Someone is insecure. One of you is feeling inferior to the other. And so you feel like, man, I don't know. I think they are too far over my where I am. And now you feel like you have to catch up with them. And now you feel like they are too good for you. And so you don't really feel like you fit in with this person. So that insecurity may make you become competitive, because sometimes you will, and we will talk about it, you may be glad when someone falls because you feel like, oh, they came closer to where I am. Now you are praying for their downfall so that you can be on the same level, instead of praying that you go higher so you can catch up to where they are. So insecurity is one thing that causes that. Lack of communication causes that a lot, because you are doing your own thing and your spouse is doing their own thing, and they have no idea what you're doing, you have no idea what they are doing, and it brings division. So when they open their eyes and they realize, oh, wait a second, he bought property without even my knowledge, it looks like you are up to something else. Okay, and so this person will start looking out for themselves, and they'll start doing things on their own too, so that, because it looks like you're planning something major, so they won't be left with nothing. Okay, so that brings that competitiveness again in the marriage, right? Lack of unity. Like I said, unity is very important. Background, sometimes that's what our families did. Dad invested and mom never found out about nothing, which is terrible, right? So that's what dad did. That's what mom did. Mom had her own things, and my father had his own things. And so that's what we know from our background. And so we bring it into our family, but it's not helpful. So today we're going to talk about that. What else causes that is broken trust. Because you had something together, say like you had a property together, and somebody did something with it that you had not agreed on Okay, so or rather, when there is no trust in the marriage, you don't feel like you can, if I can't trust you to maintain our relationship, I can't trust you enough to invest with you. So instead of investing with you, I'm gonna invest by myself, and you can do whatever you want. And then when we separate, because it looks like it's inevitable that we can't trust each other, there is really no security in that marriage where there is no trust. So when you don't have trust in the marriage, everyone feels like, I better look out for me, because when this thing finally falls apart, I want to be in a better place. I don't want to fall all the way down. Okay, so those are the 5 or 6, I think there are 5 causes, and I'm sure there are so many, but those are the ones that I came up with. 5 reasons or causes, that brings about competitiveness and jealousy in the marriage, right? So now that we know the causes, let's deal with the signs. How do you know you are living in a marriage, or you are in a relationship that has competitiveness, has competition in it? That one of the things is there is pride. There's pride involved. And so this comes out in a way like when someone say, like, I'll give you an example of someone comes from America and marries a girl out somewhere in Africa or Kenya, wherever, and then brings them in America, and they become their bride, or the vice versa, right? And so when that happens, you always keep singing and keep telling this person, if it was not for me, you would not even be in America. Do you understand? So you better do this, you better do that. So you take that like you're the one that really have brought this person to who they are. But that's a sense of pride. You feel like, if it was not for me, you wouldn't be who you are. If it was not for me, you wouldn't do this. If it was not for me, you would still be in your village. You know? So that's pride. And that is not going to bring any good results in your marriage. And so if you are used to doing that and saying such things, it's time you fix them. It's time you stop saying that, because what you did back then, you did it with an intention to bring this person into your life. And now they are in your life. You don't have to keep reminding them what you did for them back then. And that can be also, the second reason is keeping scores, things you did for each other. Oh, I paid the hospital bill for your mother when she was sick. That was 20 years ago, and you're still talking about it, right? It's not right. Now, I paid your school fees when you were in college. Now it's been 7 years since college. You're still singing about it. Why are you keeping score? When you're working together, it doesn't even matter who paid fees and who did not. It doesn't matter. In fact, you put things together and you understand this is how we work things together. If it's time for me to be in school and you are out of school, then take care of the home. Take care of the bills. Let me study this, because you know when I graduate, it's going to be for the betterment of our family, of our unit as a family, not just for me. And so that's where the devil comes in and brings competition. And now when there is competition, this person feels like they have been left behind. And so you have to keep scores. What do you do for me? I do this for you. I did this for you a long time ago. I did this. I did that. All those things, you say them. And you keep saying them. And so it's been years, 20, 30, 40 years. You're still saying what you did for your sibling, for your spouse, for your child, for their parent, their in-laws. You do not need to keep scores with your spouse. That is a sign of competition. Because now that you paid my mother's hospital bill, what am I supposed to do? Do you want me to pay your mother's hospital bill to, cover up for that? It doesn't make sense. So stop saying the things you did for your spouse a long time ago. Let it go. You are supposed to do it as the spouse, okay? So take that and don't keep saying that. Do it because he or she was a part of you. Now, jealousy, and this is not the good jealousy. This is the illegitimate, the evil jealousy, okay? Now, this jealousy it comes about when you see that your spouse is progressing way faster than you. You feel like they are accomplishing way more than maybe what you expected. They are climbing the ladder of success way faster than you expected. And instead of being happy that, oh man, because when they cry, the whole family cries. That's what you should look at. But when there is competition in a family, in a home, in a relationship, what you see is, oh wow, he did a master's degree, I better go back and do my master's degree. There is competition. And maybe it's not the right time for you to go back to school. It's not time for you to start competing with this person. Let them finish and get to a place where they are stable. And then they can take over the roles and the duties you are doing. And so if you want to go on to school, you can go on your own time. But don't go to school because your spouse went to school. Don't do anything because your spouse did that. You work together as a team. Because that's how you will accelerate faster. That's how you will reach your goals faster. That's how your home will be firm with a firm foundation. So you cannot be competing with your spouse and expect to work together and expect that home to last. Even if you stay in the same house, it is so divided and it's just a matter of time before it falls apart. And so your kids are watching that. So be very careful what you're doing with this situation. And so there is that jealousy when someone is going up and you feel like, why are they going so fast? I need to catch up with them. You don't need to catch up with them. You don't need to catch up with them. Thank you, Preston. I appreciate it. So what you need to do is focus on the fact that the progression of this one person means the progression of the whole family. Your children, you involved, everyone involved is going up when one person is going up. Others are jealous of the other person's like being celebrated. Say like your spouse, like you see, like now I'm talking to you. So sometimes when I go somewhere and I meet with someone who listens to my shows, and they were like, oh my God, Stella, this is you. Come on, can I take a selfie with you? And if I have a spouse and this spouse feels jealous because someone is celebrating me, that is a sign of competition. Or if he's in his field and he meets with someone who really celebrates him or goes on and everyone wants a selfie with him. Oh my God, come and take a selfie with me. And I'm here like, are you done? Can we go now? That is a sign of jealousy and that is evil. That is not right. And that is a sign of competition. And it has to stop. Learn to celebrate the success of your spouse. Learn to be happy when they are being celebrated. Because there is no spouse and you. If you are in unity, you are one thing. You are one thing. That is how it's supposed to be. If we remove all these other issues, it's supposed to be one team. And anybody who is coming to fight you, they are coming to fight you, the team you, against them. And it's easier to win that battle than to be against each other. Because when this one is attacked, they have to fight alone and leave you here. Do you understand? So this is not funny. And it's not fun in a family. It brings a lot of division. And division will not work. So standing in the way of your spouse's progress. When you know your spouse, let's say there's a promotion, for example, right? And now this promotion, let's say, for example, is in another city, right? And now this city, like if for your spouse to take this promotion, you're going to have to move to another city. So instead of adjusting to the change and seeing the promotion, and you communicate and you talk about what is going to be, what are we gaining? What are we going to lose if we take that promotion? Is it a good time for us as a family to pick up everything and move to that city or that country? Or is it a good time for just let that promotion go? Because it's going to do more harm than good if we take it. All right. So it's easier when you talk as a family and now you discuss what are we going to gain when we do this. Now you have a promotion, but if it allows and it's going to bring much more gain to the family than the loss you're going to incur while you move, you'd rather adjust yourself and go and look for another job in the other place, in the other city, move your children to school in the other place, just so your spouse can go into this promotion. So when you're in unity, you can come into a decision much quicker and in a better decision because you're working as a team. But when there's competition in a home and you get promotion, now that brings even more division because this spouse feels like, you know what, I'm not gonna miss my promotion because of you. So I'm gonna go anyway, and you guys, I'll come back whenever I have the days off. And now that brings me even more division because there was no agreement in that. Okay, so now, or you miss the promotion and then there is bitterness and resentment in you because you know you would have gone way further if your spouse did not stand in the way. So we have to avoid standing in the way of our spouse's progress. If they want to go to school and there is a way and there is time and this is a desire of their life to go and proceed and keep on going in their studies, why would you not support them? When you don't do that, and you're not doing that because maybe the financial situation is not right, maybe there is a small kid, maybe there is a situation that is keeping that from happening, but when you keep that from happening, from the inner issues of all these things we talked about, insecurity and all that stuff, broken trust and all that, it means you're being competitive with your spouse. And you have to come to a place and work out those issues. If you're going to stay with this spouse, right? If you choose to stay in this marriage, work out the issues that brought this broken trust, brought these insecurities. That way, you can come back to a place of unity and work things together. I promise you, you can build a house much faster when you're together than when you're separate, right? So another thing is getting happy by your spouse's downfall or setback. I mentioned that earlier. That when you're insecure and you feel like you are married to someone who is higher than you, or you married someone who is progressing faster than you, you feel like, oh my God, they are outdoing me, and it's just a matter of time before they find someone who is in their level. And you start feeling insecure, right? So what happens in that situation is you're hoping things would go as well for them. Instead of pushing them and cheering them on and saying, go baby, I'm for you, I'm here for you, man, let's do this. You're like, I hope she don't get that promotion. I hope she don't pass that exam. And you're here thinking like, man, I hope he don't make it to be the managing director. You are hoping. And in fact, when they don't get that promotion, you're inside, you're happy. That means you are competing with your spouse. That's competition. That is competition. Because if you think of two teams that are winning, that are fighting, or that are trying to play a game, the team that wins is happy, but the other team is like hating them. You don't celebrate the people that win against you. You are hating. You're like, can't stand them. So when you're in competition as a family, you see someone getting blessed, they get a promotion, they get a raise, they get something good, they get a degree, and you get mad. You might show something different with your face, but inside you are dying of jealousy, you are dying of anger. So when they fall, you are happy, you are like, who do you think you are? And the only reason you're like that is because you feel like they are higher than you and you want them to keep coming. Instead of you keep growing, you want them to come down. That is not anybody's benefit. It's not going to be anybody's benefit as a family. Now, another thing is destructive criticism. When you go in a place and let's say I'm here, I have a spouse and our kids are eating dinner next to us, and then there's a house girl here, and I'm mad at my husband, and I say something derogative or something to criticize him because I'm mad at him, but I'm saying that in front of our children, in front of that house guest or whoever is in the house. Outside me and him, that is called destructive criticism, especially in public. And public may be your children. And even when you are with him alone, Even when you're with your wife alone, criticizing, there's destructive criticism. You're not criticizing them to bring them up, you're criticizing them to bring them back down. So when you criticize someone, like you say, you eat too much, whether there are other people, whether your kids are present, or whether it's just the two of you, that destroys their self-esteem. Their self-worth is brought lower because of your words. And so that is a way of showing I have something against you inside me, and I need to bring you down to where I am. So when you, even if you notice something is wrong with you, let's say, yes, they eat too much, there is a way you can say that in a way of being constructive, in a way of praising them, that will not bring them down. Do you understand? What I'm trying to say is, don't do anything that will bring your spouse either mentally, emotionally, or anything physically down. Don't bring them down. And especially in front of other people. Because even if it's a house girl, even if it's your 2-year-old child who is witnessing that, their view of their father, their view of their mother has been altered. So you have to be very careful of how you speak to each other, in a way of building each other, not destroying each other. Because when you do that, when you are when all the time you are saying some critical words because you are mad, or because you don't like this person right now for what maybe they have done, or something, a disagreement you had, then you're bringing them down. And that it brings competition. Competition. You have divided the family. Now, the other thing is having secret accounts. Secret accounts, secret properties, and investments. Oh man, this is so common, especially here in diaspora. So very common. It's common everywhere, but I have seen it a lot lately here in diaspora. I was in it, okay? I'm saying something I know. Why? Because now you call your family and you tell them, I need you to buy me a plot of land. And you send them some money. Now, what you did is you didn't inform your wife or your husband that I need to buy a plot of land. And so what happens is your mom or your brother or whoever you sent money to, they go and see a piece of land and they buy the piece of land. Of course, it will be in your name, but your spouse has no idea that you're even doing that. So there's division, there is competition. Even though it don't sound like competition, even though you might think, oh, I'm gonna do this and surprise my wife. If anything happens, the worst thing with that is, I have seen people in the process of development, in the process of buying properties, whether it was a surprise or not, and something happened to you, that property usually goes to outsiders. Whatever you are trying to do, outside of your spouse's knowledge, or you always go out to an outsider. So your kids, your family that you are making this for, will not even enjoy. Because nobody knows their day. Nobody knows when you live. You might live here and you are building this skyscraper somewhere in Kenya or wherever. And your spouse don't even know you're doing this. Now, the problem is you're assuming you're going to be alive long enough to build that. And that's good to assume that, because that's being optimistic. But then you don't know tomorrow. And if something happened between now and the moment that thing finishes and you expose that surprise to your spouse, anything can happen. And the only person that knows that you're even building is the person you're using to build that or to buy that property. So I have seen properties, I have witnessed people that live in poverty, but their fathers were millionaires with a lot of properties. Yet they live in poverty, and that property is helping someone else out there. Some greedy person who knew about it, but they will not tell you. Okay? So you have to be very careful, especially when it comes to investment. Before you even invest, solve the issues in the family. Solve the issues in the family. Because now, when you do that, then when you solve the issues in the family, the issues, maybe the dispute, the issues that may cause trust issues, then when you solve that, and now you are one head, share with your spouse and say, you know what, I think it's time we develop ourselves. I think we should buy this property and develop it in this way. And that way, when our kids grow up, they have something to inherit. Okay, when you discuss it as a spouse, because it could be you, it could be your spouse that goes first. This life is not guaranteed, man. It's not. And you're here today, tomorrow you are elsewhere. Okay, so when you are in a family, you're in a very good place. Share your dreams, share your desires with your spouse. Let them contribute, even if it's by mouth, contribute to what you are doing. Let them know, where is it? Whose name is it on? Where is the paperwork? So that if anything happens, I don't have to worry about being, where do I even start? And now they are busy fighting your family because they need to get what is rightfully theirs. So be wise, because you're making all these investments for your children. Also, I guess, I mean, that's who else will you be making it for? So if you're making it for your children and you're excluding one of their parents, it's not wise. Because if anything ever happened, then there's a very big chance that your children will not even enjoy that property. They might not even enjoy your savings. They might not even enjoy your whatever you did for their own good. And they will stay in poverty while they were supposed to stay in a palace. So be very careful when you're doing that. I did that when I was in my marriage. I looked around and I saw, wow, I am nowhere in this guy's life. And everything he's doing with his family. And I can tell you that hurts a lot. That hurts a lot. When you exclude your spouse in your development, it shows them you don't belong with me. You're not supposed to be here in the wrong land. Okay? So I remember how painful it was. Because now I'm thinking, oh well, I'm done. I found my spouse and I'm here to stay. But his actions are saying otherwise. Because when his actions are saying, it's me and my mom. It's me and my family. And in all those properties, there is no name Stella anywhere. And yes, I had not contributed, but if you're planning for me to become part of your life, which part am I gonna come in? And I say, you know what? Okay, maybe that project started long before I came into the picture. So what I want us to do is, so I can feel as part of you, so I can feel that we are together in this. How about we invest in something together? We get a bank account that has both our names. We buy a plot of land or some land, and we went to Kenya and sourced those land, and we chose which one to buy. But that never happened. And I discovered this is a way of telling me you're not gonna be here too long, you know. So, you know, it's better you prepare. And so in my own mind, I figured, oh well, I guess I don't belong here. I don't. Because your words speaks louder than your action speaks louder than your words. And so whenever he did that, whenever he ignored an investment with me, whenever I tried to promote us going forward as a family, and he ignored that and he pursued him and his family, it showed me where I belong. And so I started thinking, okay, I wonder what I need to do so I can take care of myself and be sure that I have something for my child. And I had to start looking outside of this guy's life. Because I can tell, by the way you are investing, I'm not part of you. I'm not part of this family. And so, but the reason why for 5 years, there was nothing that we could call ours. When I left with my clothes and my baby's clothes. Why? Because we had nothing for 4.5 years, close to 5 years. We had nothing. Nothing together. Nothing that we could say, let's sell this and share the money so you can go your way and I go my way. Nothing. What do you think that is? Because there was division. Because there was competition. And when I'm trying to go back to school for nursing, he's like, oh no, don't do. And I'm like, okay, I'll work and I'll take care of the bills. You go to school. And he's like, I don't like school anyway. So you don't want to go to school and you won't let me go to school. It doesn't make sense. So this is competition. This is what I'm talking about. I've been in this thing. and I know how destructive it is. And that home, when you entertain that, it's just a matter of time before it falls apart. Because even the devil himself, the devil does not entertain division in his kingdom. They work as a team. And he has a team that does this and does that. If you hear the word legion, it's a group of I don't want to go into details because I know there are Bible scholars here that maybe think that is wrong. But I know the devil work in pattern, in unity. He sends you here and he can send you here and you go wherever you want to go. They work in unity. And that's why God is saying, a house divided will not stand. It will not stand. Now, the last thing, this is going to be short, is siding with others to attack your spouse. When there is like, let's say there's a commotion somewhere, let's say there's an issue, let's say you went to some party and someone attacked your spouse and they are accusing them of this and that. You can join in there and say, why were you doing that? What were you thinking? You can side with the outsiders and fight your spouse, attack your spouse. In the presence of those people, you have to be on the same side with your spouse. And even if what they did is wrong, you have to be in the same side with them and in the front of everybody. But when you leave the presence of those people, you can go and discuss that thing together and say, what are they talking about? What was that about? And then the spouse will have a chance to explain themselves. Because when there's a bunch of people, you can't really even hear each other. So if there is a commotion, let's say even if it's a mother-in-law who is accusing, or maybe anybody comes in your life and start accusing your spouse or saying bad things about your spouse. Oh, I saw your husband doing this. Oh, I saw your wife, I heard her saying this. You can't agree with that person and say, oh man, forget him. He's just a piece of work. You can say that in front of that person. You can just listen. And in fact, don't entertain gossip. Don't entertain it because it brings a lot of division. So what happens is you take that, whatever you heard, and you go home and talk to your spouse separately, in secret, and ask him, what is this about? What is this about? I heard this and I heard that. And you have to be wise enough. There are things you don't even need to ask your spouse. Men, you have to really apply wisdom in marriage. That's what I have learned. There are things you'd rather not know about. There are things that men, if you know this is the truth, it will break you. So some of these things, overlook them. Overlook them if you can, right? It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of courage to do that. And so I have to tell you kudos if you can do that. But what I'm trying to say, if there is competition in your home, if there's jealousy, chances are that home will not succeed. And this is not like, I'm not a prophet of doom. I'm just telling you the reality. You have to work into getting together. You have to work in getting in unison. You have to work into bringing things, where things are broken down, bring them together so that you can see as one head. You can be one head. And that's why the Bible says two are better than one. But they are not better because one is studying here and the other one is studying here. They are better because they are like this. If I was to pull something with something to open, like let's say I'm trying to pull this little knob out. This is my phone case, right? So if I'm trying to pull it and I have one hand, one finger, it will be very hard to pull it out. But if I have these two fingers, however angle we plan to do it, we can easily pluck that thing out because we are two and we are working together. But anytime you separate yourself from your spouse and decide to do something on your side, and there are some right now who are listening to this and they have done things separately. Listen, it's for your own good. It's for your own children to come together and tell them, listen, I did this and I did that. But I don't think it's good that you don't know. I know people who have built mansions, built properties, built flats, and their spouse have no idea. Every month they get monthly pay, monthly money. and their spouse don't even know. Now, the worst mistake that it can bring is if something happened to you and your spouse have no idea, and they are struggling raising your kids when you have property that would keep them like children of a king. If you look at it, it looks crazy. It looks absurd. So we have to work in getting together, man. If you really choose in staying in this marriage, and even if you're not in the same marriage, even if you don't get along, tell your spouse, or if you have grown children, share with them, this is what I bought. I have this property here, and I have this property here, and this is in your name, and this other one is in your sibling's name. Just in case. Because I promise you, tomorrow is not promised. It is not promised. And so whatever you have, if your intention was to invest for your children, let them enjoy it then. Make sure that you put plans in place to where if anything do happen, that they have something. And they will look back and say, wow, I'm so glad dad did this. I'm so glad mom did this. We have to work in unity. Otherwise, our marriages will not stand. Otherwise, our relationships will not work. We have to work in unity. That's just given. Now, this other jealousy I talked about, where you are giving your friends too much attention, you are always out there with your friends, you are golfing, you are even ministry can be a part of where that you focus too much on the ministry, you focus too much on what you are doing. Even if it's a calling from God, you have to work on balancing things. You have to work in balance. You can't focus too much on this thing and ignore this other thing. You can't ignore your calling, and you cannot ignore your spouse either, unless you want to lose one. Okay, so you have to be a balanced person and ask God to help you to get balance into your life. That way, you can do your purpose, you can pursue your career, you can pursue your goals, and still your family will feel your presence. Your family will feel dad is with us and he's in us. He's around us all the time. Don't abandon your kids too much and promote working and investing for them. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you live for them that will benefit them the most. What you live in them is what's most important. So spend time. Give them all the attention they need. If you can't quit your job to be with your children day in, day out. I don't expect that. But when you have time, yes, play. Yes, do have friends out there and hang out with them. Especially friends who are building you. But don't spend all your time with your friends and come home when your kids are sleeping. They will not see you. They will never know who you are inside you. It's through communication and interacting with your kids that they get to learn who dad really is inside. Right? So you have to commit to, yes, I am doing ministry. Yes, I am hanging out with friends. Yes, I am progressing in my career or in my education, but it doesn't mean ignore this other area. You have to be a balanced person. And that takes a lot of practice, discipline, and prayer. I can tell you that, and prayer. So, it feels short, but I feel like I talked a lot. But I hope this will bring someone's home back together. You cannot fight as two teams and win. You're one team. So the sooner you put that team back together, the better for both of you. Whatever you have bought outside your marriage, outside your spouse's knowledge, bring it to their knowledge. And if you cannot do that because maybe you separated ways and you feel like it's not safe, involve someone who is mature enough and who is not greedy. Okay? And hopefully you have a grown kid. And this is where things like wills come in. If you can write a will and say, this is what I have for my children. I have this property here, and you attach the necessary documents and write a will. That way, if anything do happen to you, your children don't have to suffer, and they will inherit what it is you worked for, what it is you earned for them. Remember, all these things, investments you are doing outside, like investments, properties, is not as important as what you are instilling in them. So I would say, before you worry about building a skyscraper, before you worry about building a flat or whatever it is that you are building, buying all these pieces of land, before you think of that, think about, what is it that I left inside my children? If I leave today, what will my children say about me? Did I instill faith in my kids? Did I instill hope? Did I instill strength? Do they believe in themselves? Did I tell them I'm proud of you? Did I instill confidence? Do they believe in who they are? Do they know who they are? Because even if you leave millions of dollars or shillings worth of investments, and then you leave your kids broken because they didn't have a father near them, they didn't have a mother near them, guess what? Oh, before your body is all decomposed, all those millions are gone. They can't maintain it because you didn't instill value. You didn't instill things that are necessary so that they can stand and gladly explore and improve what you left. So be very careful of going out there and buying all these other things and then leaving your kids empty inside, because they will look for something to fill that void you left. And this something might be this money. They will sell whatever they have to sell and drink anything they can drink just so they can fill that void you left. So make sure they are full. Their hearts are full of you, full of everything they need from a father, from a mother, before you give them millions. Okay? Before you give them a plot of land. It's not worth it if you're gonna leave a kid broken. So that's it for today. I hope you're blessed. I pray that you stay healthy. Please be careful. Corona is still there. And I hope I will catch up with you on Sunday. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. I appreciate it so much. Share this video. Post it on your wall. Share it on our group. And God will bless you. Have a good one. Bye.